Good Friday morning of the 14th week. I'm going to go back to Hosea. This is a powerful conclusion. Let me read it to you, okay? Thus says the Lord, return, O Israel, to the Lord your God. You've collapsed through your guilt. Take with you words and return to the Lord. Say to him, forgive all iniquity. Receive what is good, that we may render as offerings the bullocks from our stalls. Assyria will not save us, nor shall we have horses to mount. We shall say no more, our God, to the work of our hands. For in you the orphan finds compassion. I will heal their defection, says, this is a beautiful part. I will heal their defection, says the Lord. I will love them freely, for my wrath is turned away from them. I don't know if there's another translation for this. I will love them freely. I thought there was one that says I will love them and speak tenderly to their heart, and maybe a different translation. I don't know. I will be like the dew for Israel. He shall blossom like the lily. He shall strike with root like the Lebanon cedar, and put forth his shoots. His splendor shall be like the olive tree, and his fragrance like the Lebanon cedar. Again they shall dwell in his shade and raise grain. They shall blossom like the vine, and his fame shall be like the wine of Lebanon. Ephraim, what more has he to do with idols? I have humbled him, but I will prosper him. I am like a verdant cypress tree. Because of me, you bear fruit. Let him who is wise understand these things. Let him who is prudent know them. Straight are the paths of the Lord. In them the just walk, but sinners stumble in them. That's interesting. See, be prudent and know them. Let who is prudent know them. The way of the Lord. And if you follow the way of the Lord, you will prosper. If you don't, you will bring upon yourself, as it were, the fruits of your falsehood. Boy, that's, to me, it's such a... I always go back to the 20th century because it's such a paradigm case of it. But you can also think of them in the minuteness of daily life. As you build your virtues, as you live your life, you actually constitute the basis of your future. That's simply true. That's why we try to raise our children to be virtuous and good, because out of the fruit of that labor will come the benefit. I don't know. The fruit of it comes from the labor. I'm not saying any of that right now. I'm sorry. I apologize to you. I'm just stumbling on my words. But the point I'm getting at is virtue counts. And virtue matters. I've been saying that all week, and it's simply the text with Hosea. See, virtue matters. And the conditions of the heart. That's what virtue means. Virtue really means power. It's the strength of habitual conviction. When you build habits of love, habits of generosity. See, what is a vice but a habit contrary? Let's say generosity, selfishness. You can almost say whatever you see as a virtue, there's a countering opposite of vice. And habits of vice can be as consistently destructive as habits of virtue are constructive and bring life. You see so many cases of that where if you do any, at least I have over the past 50 plus years of marriage counseling, you see the role of virtue and vice. It's huge because they're habits of the heart. And the marriage vows don't change the habits of the heart. They foster the habits of the heart, both the good and the vice. There's a kind of she or he will get better. They'll change. No, they won't, because those are habits. They might change, but don't count on it. I mean that. What you see in that sense as a person acts out their life with you and before you and with you is what they're going to continue to do. That's the source. We are creatures of the habits we have formed. And it takes a tremendous amount of self-reflection and circumstance to begin to reconvert vice into virtue. It can happen. Thank God we're not determined. It's the whole point of Plato, okay? But it's also why we make retreats, why we do these things is to reconvert the heart. But left unfettered, the habits we have increase either virtuously or viciously. That's just the truth. And my experience, leave it at that, my experience in marriage counseling that I've done over the years, how important the virtues are, the habits of the heart. If somebody is selfish and they don't recognize their own selfishness, it doesn't stay put. It grows, and it grows contagiously. And it eats away the love in a marriage, for instance. Just like the virtues foster the intimacy of the marriage, the friendship, the fidelity. It's not a static state. It's habits of behavior that reinforce each other. And vices can very, very much foster self-destruction and destruction of everyone around you, as does the virtues foster the wholeness of the home. You don't become faithful because you took vows. You had a heart open to fidelity. And you have been faithful. Even prior to your marriage, you're faithful to your partner, you're faithful to your spouse to be. Then you're faithful to your spouse and to your children. It's because it has become a habit of the heart. It's natural for you to be generous. It isn't a struggle. Sometimes we can be funny about it. Say, oh, gee, I don't know what to get my wife for her birthday. I don't know. I always have trouble with that. There's a certain amount of humor and truth in that, but there's also a case in which the giving of the gift is hard to do because you don't have a generous heart. The first case I gave, I said, I want to get her something special. I don't know what to get her. See how I said that? But I want whatever I give to be a symbol of my heart. I want her to feel my love in the gift, not my obedience. Well, you know what? If I don't get her something, I'll pay for it. Man, I'll never hear the end of it. You get it? Keep your freaking gift. That's not a gift anymore. You're paying for some happiness. You're trying to buy it. See? One's a vice. It's selfish. Even the giving a gift is selfish. Where a generous heart is, I want to give something special to you because I love you. The gift is a sacrament of my heart. I want you to delight in it as you delight in my love for you. See? It doesn't have to be, you know this, doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be anything. It has to be intimate. Now, what got me into thinking about this is beyond me, but I don't know. Yeah. I think of these texts because I think of the importance of virtue. Maybe I'm just wasting your time. But I tell you one thing, those of you who are married know what I just told you is the truth. That there is hopefully a growth in the intimacy of spirit in a marriage, starting before you're married, where there's a generosity and a tenderness, a desire not just to please, but to enrich, to make your life richer. So that every day that I'm with you, you are richer for it. Not because I'm giving you something that's a thing, but because I give you yourself. I'm seeing in you your beauty. And I'm loving who you are, and all your beauty. Something like that. See? I hope I said that right. Yeah. My friend Sarah, her grandmother nailed it. I told you this 100 times before. When she said, before you can love Sarah, you must first see her. You have to see her. That's the key. You have to have a heart open to seeing. Seeing the other is beautiful. And then the flow of your heart will be generous. Not calculating, but generous. That's the truth. That's habits. It's a habit of the heart. The habit to want to see the other, and in seeing the other, to love her, to love him, without any boundaries, just loving well. I guess that's not what I'm trying to sound. To give to the other what is good and beautiful, your heart.